5 common motorcycle hazards and how to avoid them. So they say motorcycle riding is dangerous. I say it's not as dangerous as they make out to be. Statistics make it appear a lot more dangerous than it is, because if we take out the people who are drinking while they're riding, if we take out the people who are stoned, we take out the people who have stolen a motorcycle and they're on the getaway, we take out the people who are playing Ghost Rider. What about the guy who jumps on his friend's bike? He hasn't got a license, he says he can ride, and bang! Is it really as dangerous as we think? So there are 5 common hazards that you're going to face riding your motorcycle. Hazard number 2 requires a bit of soul searching. Hazard number 4 is very controversial because I discuss a few issues about the police. And of course, the last hazard is the most dangerous of all. There are easy ways around most of them, and all 5 have solutions that anyone can manage. Let's get cracking. Hazard number 1, corners. Corners are everywhere, corners are fun. True motorcyclists love corners. Fast sweepers on country roads, tight corners on mountain roads, and don't forget intersections, that's where you turn. Power Rangers live for them, and many riders want to take them as fast as possible. Even us Harley riders with limited lean angles find the joy in the feeling that going around corners gives us. So you've got to know how to take corners on a motorcycle. So many people don't, and a lot of people are afraid of corners, and that's why they can become a hazard on a motorcycle. You need to understand counter steering. If you want to turn right, push your right handlebar to the left. So you're pushing your handlebars to the opposite direction of the turn. So if I want to turn right, I'm pushing my right handlebar to the left, which is the opposite way to the turn. That means my front wheel is going to turn a little bit to the left, which is going to cause the motorcycle to fall or to lean and turn to the right. Now, the faster you go, the harder you're going to have to push. But once you understand counter steering, you need to actually action it, put it into practice, because an intellectual understanding of it isn't really going to help much. And the same applies to the fact that you can use your body weight on the inside of a corner to decrease the lean of your motorcycle. In other words, you can have your bike more upright if you use your body weight to counter the forces that are pushing your motorcycle to the outside of the corner. There are so many things you can learn about making corners safer besides just slowing down. Start the corner wide and turn in later makes for a straighter line. Turning in faster makes the last point easier. Roll on the throttle gradually and smoothly as you exit a corner. Do this as your lean angle decreases, and don't do it abruptly. The bike's going to go where you turn your head and eyes, that's there. So look through the corner for the exit. Don't look at the road directly in front of your bike as you're taking a corner. It's going to make the corner appear a lot tighter, and you're going to think that you're going faster than you really are. At intersections, when you're turning the corner there, stay clear of the center of the lane. That's where the oil collects from the cars that are sitting there waiting for the lights to change. If you want more detail on corners, see my video, How to Corner a Harley Without Being Afraid. I'll link it at the end of the video. Hi, my name's Eamon. Welcome to the channel. If you like the videos that I'm doing, consider supporting the channel. Go to the website, oldnotdead.club. That's where you're going to find some great supporter gear like this t-shirt, a cap, beanie, sticker, patch, whatever you like the look of, but it all helps keeping the channel going. Now, the second hazard, that's you. Your hazard number 2, look in the mirror. In fact, it's not just you, it's people in general. They can be a hazard when you're riding your motorcycle. Irrespective of your riding ability, you might have too much ego. You might always feel the need to keep up with your mates. You might be one of those people who shows off when they're riding. Too much ego is dangerous to yourself and to other people. You see, maybe you just think you're better than your skills really are, and you push yourself too hard. And all of this is based on an underlying emotional driver. You see, emotion is irrational and can easily cloud your judgment. And a lot of people don't even know they're being emotional about things, because as a society, we tend to suppress and block our feelings. Now, the point is, be careful that you're not being a hazard to yourself. Now, this is very subjective, of course, and only you, yourself, have the ability to judge that. Now, of course, if you're riding in a group, that's going to be multiplied by God knows how many times. Group rides, in my opinion, are great fun. It's an awesome way to meet new people and make friends. But dangerous, you can have a mix of people. Fast, skilled and experienced people mixed with slow and unskilled people. Whether they're beginners or they just can't ride doesn't really matter. And there's no need to vilify anyone. Everybody starts somewhere. You just need to be super vigilant on group rides. As a generalisation, I like to hang out near the front of the group. That's usually where the skilled riders are, because the pace seems to be a little bit faster there. But of course, there are other ways. To avoid the hazard of other people in group rides, you just need to be aware of what's going on and try and predict what may happen. You can often spot the dangerous riders easily enough, and it's your job, your responsibility, to get in a position where they're not going to affect you. Don't be side by side or too close in a corner, especially where somebody may run wide on the corner or turn in too early. Make sure you've got a sufficient gap if you're directly in front or behind them, especially when you're in traffic. And put some effort into helping beginners, especially if they're open to it, because you were a beginner once. Now, the third hazard for motorcycles, obstacles. It's a common hazard on the road for motorcycles. It's both stationary and moving obstacles. Now, that can be animals crossing the road in country areas.
Oh shit, a fucking deer!
Children chasing a ball in urban areas. And it can be simple things like sand or gravel on the road through a corner. And that's where the problem of target fixation comes in. As a survival mechanism, we as human beings tend to focus on the danger. We like to keep it in our sights. That's not what you should do riding a motorcycle. You see, you go where you look, so you need to look for the clear path around the obstacle. Don't look at the obstacle. Because this takes conscious practice to become a habit. And of course, if you're riding on country roads around dawn or dusk when the wildlife changes location, either don't ride, slow down, or be super vigilant. Hazard number 4, the government, police and speed cameras. This is a controversial one, obviously, but I'm saying it anyway. The origin of speed limits is fuel economy, not safety. Now, of course, if you hit a brick wall at 300 rather than at 50, you're going to do a lot more damage. But the operative word here is if. Because most motorcyclists are sensible adults, they can probably police themselves to a pretty high standard. The speed limit was created in the early 70s as a result of a petrol shortage around the world. The oil exporting countries ran and still do run a cartel that colludes on the price of oil. For political reasons, they withheld the oil supply to the world. There was a shortage, and I think it was the American President Nixon who created speed limits, and the speed limit was designed to conserve fuel. And of course, speed limits morphed into tax collection, and they have very sophisticated, smart technology that they are using against us.
So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to give you a defect notice today.
The car's brand new.
Nah, bro, I'm defecting your head, mate.
What?
I'm defecting your fucking head today. You wanna argue, you can argue in court.
Now, just in case you think I'm encouraging people to become Ghost Rider or do something crazy, I'm not. Now, I call it a hazard because where I live, it's not just a fine. They can actually take your license away. They can confiscate your vehicle, perhaps even crush it, if they think you're doing the wrong thing. And of course, they do this without regard to circumstance, without any regard to how you're going to transport yourself or your family to work. And to make it even worse, there's an absolutely abysmal public transport system. It's draconian.
'Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way.
I once spoke to a traffic policeman who said rather than enforcing the speed limit based on the posted signs, he would drive up and down a stretch of road and he would determine what the highest safe speed was, and he would book people according to that. Now, that's a system people could probably embrace. Now, this is one of the more difficult hazards to overcome because they are actively working against us. With this hazard, you've got to understand how traffic police set their traps. They can use radar while they're driving towards you in the opposite direction, and they pick radar locations where they have a very long-range field of view. And then there are obvious spots like entering and leaving country towns. Fortunately for us, and probably unbeknown to the traffic police themselves, they're fast becoming unnecessary because technology is going to replace them pretty soon. It's just a matter of time before they're gone, and technology is easier to overcome. That brings us to speed cameras. Know their location. You can do that through websites and apps, and keep your eyes open. Here where I am, they put the speed cameras in cars and they park them at the side of the road. So unfortunately, that means some of your attention needs to go to every single car that is parked on the side of the road. Be vigilant. You will notice that there are patterns and they are easy to spot. And of course, this is different for different states or areas. So if you're going to a new area that you're unfamiliar with, slow down. Hazard number 5, cars, trucks and other vehicles. By far the biggest hazard you're going to face on the road are cars and other vehicles. Now, these vehicles are driven by people, and their driving skills, their ability to negotiate obstacles, their attention levels are not under your control. That means anything can happen. Most other vehicles are bigger and heavier than you, and they're not motorcycle aware. It's only a small percentage of the population that gives motorcycles a thought. Now, even though other vehicles are the most dangerous hazard you're going to face, it's probably also the easiest hazard to get around. As I've said in other videos, you need to get away from the traffic, you need to get away from the cars. You don't want to ride in positions that are too close to cars where they can do something that's going to put you in danger. Don't be vulnerable. So that includes being trapped in the traffic as it's moving. That includes stopping behind other cars that are stationary at the lights with cars bearing down behind you, going too fast through intersections and not covering your brakes during these high risk moments, just generally riding too fast when there are other vehicles around you, in particular peak hour traffic times. So as you've seen, there's a lot you can do to make motorcycling safer. You've got the power, you've got the resources to put all of this into practice and make your journey safe. So here are a couple of other videos that you're going to enjoy that expand on this topic.
Using all that's left, somewhere in your chest, on your sweetheart hit a mist. Oh,